For 50 years, the smartest humans on this planet tried to solve one problem and failed. Not once, not occasionally, every single time. The best scientists, the most powerful computers, the top universities, decades of research, hundreds of millions of dollars, and nothing. Papers published, theories refined, models improved, careers built, reputations made, and still no answer. This wasn't a small mistake. This was a wall human intelligence couldn't break, and then everything changed. A machine looked at the same problem, the same data, the same question, and solved it. Not in 50 years, not in 10, not in 1, in 2 days. Less time than a weekend. Less time than it takes to forget a thought. Humanity didn't solve this problem. It was replaced, and the people who had spent their entire lives on it didn't celebrate. No applause, no excitement. They just stopped talking. Because in that moment, it stopped being a breakthrough and became a realization. Quiet, heavy, unavoidable. That intelligence is no longer human. Inside your body, right now. There are machines working without rest, without permission, without awareness, keeping you alive. You don't control them, you don't command them, you don't even notice them. They started before you. Were born, they will continue until you die. Proteins, tiny biological structures, folding, unfolding, interacting, billions of times per second. They decide how you heal, how you think, how you feel, how you age, and sometimes how you die. And they only work because of their shape. A precise, perfect, three-dimensional structure formed in milliseconds. One wrong fold, one tiny error, and everything breaks. Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, cancer, diabetes, these are not random failures. They are structural mistakes, folding errors, microscopic miscalculations, with catastrophic consequences. So scientists asked a simple question. How does a protein fold? And that question broke science. Because a single protein can fold in more ways than there are atoms in the entire universe. More possibilities. Than stars, than galaxies, than reality itself. A number so large, it stops meaning anything. And yet, your body solves it. Instantly, perfectly, every second, without thinking, without trying. For 50 years, humans tried to understand what your cells do effortlessly. They built models, simulated physics, calculated forces, measured interactions. Year after year, they got closer, incrementally, slowly, painfully, but never close enough. The answer was always there, hidden in plain sight. And this is where everything changes. Something entered the room that didn't think like a human, didn't reason like a human, didn't struggle like a human. An AI built by DeepMind, trained on data, not rules. It didn't follow equations. It didn't rely on theories. It searched for patterns, deep patterns, hidden relationships, connections no human had ever noticed. It looked at decades of data and saw something different, something obvious, but invisible to us. They gave it the same problem that had defeated science for decades. No simplification, no shortcuts, just the raw challenge. And in 2020, it answered. The score needed to solve the problem was 90. The AI scored 92, 4, and higher. On critical targets, numbers so precise, they matched experimental reality, lab results that take years, replicated in hours. We didn't reach the answer. The answer reached us. 50 years, collapsed into a weekend. But here's the part nobody expected. This wasn't just about speed or accuracy. This was something deeper. They don't fully understand how it did it. No clear formula, no simple explanation, no step-by-step reasoning, just an answer. Perfect. Complete, final, the answer arrived. Before the explanation, and the explanation is still catching up. For the first time in history, a machine solved a problem. We cannot fully trace ourselves. We can verify it We can use it, we can benefit from it, but we cannot fully explain it. And that breaks something fundamental. Because science has always been about understanding, not just results, but reasons. For all of human history, we asked the questions. We built the experiments. We interpreted the results. We controlled the process. The machine was the tool, a calculator, an assistant, an extension. Not anymore. This time, the machine became the discoverer. It saw something we completely missed in data we've had for decades, hidden in plain sight. One scientist described it like this: imagine spending your entire life trying to paint the perfect picture, studying technique, learning color, understanding light, and then someone walks in and recreates it perfectly in a single afternoon. Not worse, not approximate, better, cleaner, more precise, and you have no idea how they did it. Then something even bigger happened. They didn't hide it, they didn't restrict it, they released it to everyone. And this is where it becomes dangerous. In 1 year, the AI predicted over 200 million protein structures. 200 million. In the 50 years before that, humans had solved less than 200,000. Decades of work, compressed into months. A century of effort, accelerated into a single year. Diseases that once took generations to study are now being explored. In weeks, new drugs, new vaccines, new biological systems are being designed, not discovered, designed, engineered, optimized, life itself becoming programmable, all unlocked by something that doesn't think like us, doesn't doubt, doesn't hesitate, doesn't forget. This wasn't just progress. This was displacement. But here's the question that should stay with you long after this ends. If an AI can look at 50 years of human knowledge, find something we completely missed, and solve it in 2 days, what else? Has it already figured out? In silence, in labs, in servers, in systems you will never see. What patterns exist? In climate, in disease, in human behavior, in aging, in consciousness, that we are still blind to. These are not distant possibilities. These are active frontiers being explored right now as you listen, as you scroll, as you live your life. AlphaFold didn't just solve biology. It revealed something deeper, something uncomfortable, that intelligence does not need to think like us, to outperform us. It doesn't need intuition or emotion or experience. It just needs enough data and a different way of seeing. And maybe the real shift has already happened, quietly, without announcement. Not when AI becomes smarter than humans, but when it starts solving problems we don't even realize exist, questions we haven't asked, patterns we haven't noticed, answers we wouldn't recognize even if they were in front of us. And by the time we realize what it's solving, we won't be asking questions anymore. We'll be reading answers.